So for this part of our class, we're going to talk about, well, how to apply a cleaner. Now understand, we're only going to do cleaning in this segment. Now, one of the things that you want to always do is you always want to check your safety data sheet of the product that you're going to be using. In this particular case, I'm going to have to be using the Peroxy HDox from Earth Labs. So I've got the safety data sheet here, and it says that there is no special requirements for mask. It also says that there's no protective gloves that are required. Now, being a COPD sufferer myself, I appreciate the fact that I don't have to wear a mask, because wearing a mask for me is almost impossible to wear a mask and do the job. So this is why I choose this product. As far as a cleaner, you're going to choose whatever product that you want, but always look for the safety data sheet to decide what PPE that you need to have. Now, one of the things that I always like to do is I always use the Nitrile over the wrist gloves, and that is to protect myself from coming in contact with anything that's on the surface. As you can see, I've got a safe product here to use, so I'm not having to be concerned with that as far as the vapors. So one of the other things is I want to teach you today is how to apply a cleaner in a safe and healthy way. Now, if you have the choice, then you choose a product like what I've just talked about. If you don't, then how do I use a product in a safe and healthy way, even though the product may not be completely what I like to have? So one of the things that you'll notice is that on my bottle of product here, this has a flip top on it. This is not a trigger sprayer. The sprayer that I have here is a pump-up sprayer. I have a green bottle and I have a green label, because from this manufacturer, the dispenser for general cleaning is green labeled. The product itself has no color in it. As you can see in our bottle here, there's no color in the product. There is no scent to it. So as a COPD sufferer, I don't have those issues. Now, how do we go about using it? Well, it might be a little different than what you've been using before. Without a trigger sprayer, what do I do? Well, I can use a wiper like this. This is blue microfiber. We're going to use blue microfiber for general cleaning. Now, this is just a conference table, so I use blue for general cleaning. You also see I have a blue pad here on this, and I also have my blue pads here on my other devices, which I'll show you in a little bit. So how do we deliver the cleaning chemical to the surface if I don't have a trigger sprayer, which is what we've always had? Why do I not have a trigger sprayer? Well, the reason is because as I spray it, it provides a mist which comes back and I breathe it. That I do not want to do. So how do I eliminate that? With a squirt top. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do this, or actually a little bit more than that, and I'll show you that today in this segment of the class. One is I can put it directly onto my wiper. And you can see there, I saturate it just like this all the way through. It comes through on the other side, well, just about. Let me put just a little bit more on there. Okay, there we go. See, I got it through on this side here too. So, one of the things I can do now is I have it on my wiper and I can simply wipe the surface. Now remember, this is just cleaning, so all I'm doing is just going over the surface and wiping. On the other hand, if I have a large area like this, I certainly could take this over here and I could pour it out and I can run my wiper through it if I need a little bit more product on the surface. Now, one of the other ways I could do this is I could use a trowel. This is a microfiber trowel, sticks on with Velcro onto the side here. Okay, so you can just stick that on. I could do it the same way. I can apply my cleaning chemical to the trowel pad and I could wipe back and forth. Now you see how that left the surface much, much wetter. So if I need the cleaning chemical to dwell a little bit longer because of the soil load that's on here, that's what I would use. A microfiber wiper picks up and pulls a lot more, and as you saw, it kind of dries the surface, even though I saturated it all the way through. And I can feel even through my gloves, this is wet. Now, by using a trowel, you also notice I covered a larger area. This was easier for me. So on a conference table like this, I would say this would be much easier to do rather than use a wiper. The other thing, now that we have the pandemic that we've been in, we want to use our chemical in a different way, and we don't want to go in a circular motion. Notice in both cases, what I did is I wiped horizontally back and forth. Do not go in a circle motion anymore. So my belief is this: for best practices, for you as a frontline technician to not expose yourself to harsh chemicals, no matter what they are, chemicals in general, is to apply them onto the pad and wipe them horizontally like I did here. However, this is a big table here. One of the things I might do is I might choose to actually use a pad on the end of an extension. Now in this case here, what I'll do is I'll do it exactly the same way. Put the solution onto the pad. And in this case, I have a long reach device that I can reach clear over here to this side of the table. And you can see that I can wipe the whole table much faster, more convenient. The other thing is I can apply pressure down like this, and I've got something to actually scrub with. Now, you can see here, I can cover the whole length of the table from standing in one position. I can scrub back and forth. Okay, so that's a way that I could apply a cleaner. If I needed to apply more solution, I can pour it out like this, and I can scrub through it. This is just showing you there's different ways to apply your cleaning chemical to your flat surfaces. Now, if you get into much larger areas, we have not the 8-inch, but the 16-inch, and it works the very same way. Put the pad on the table. Now, in this case, you notice that my pad is dry, and so if you wanted to come back and you wanted to remove as much of that cleaning chemical as possible, you can see how very quickly and easily I dried that table. Not always do you need to dry the table, but if you wanted to, that's a quick and easy way to apply the chemical, clean the surface, and dry it. Now, the only problem with what we've done here is, although this is a safe chemical, we have left some chemical on there because it took some time to dry. And then I used a pad here to dry it up. These are just choices for you. I'm not telling you which one that you want to use. These are just choices. Now, you also notice that I have a bottle here of, well, it's not got a label on it. That's because it's water. My belief here at the Academy is that all chemistry, no matter what the safety of it is, leaves a residue. And many times our processes don't remove all that residue. As you saw as this was put on, we had that streaking on there. So if I'm just cleaning a surface, you've seen some of the ATP measuring that we've done. If I measured my ATP right now, it would be a certain number. I would have reduced the counts by a certain amount. However, my experience has told me that if I take water and put water on the surface and then would take my wiper and agitate this, and then followed that with a squeegee, that I am going to remove more of the residues on the surface than before. Now, the question here is, do I have to use a squeegee? Do I have to use rinse water? No. Folks, I've said this in many classes before. Whenever you take your dishes that you've eaten on and you put them into the sink with the soapy water, the last thing you do after you agitate them and get them all clean is you rinse them before you put them back in the shelf in order to use them the next time. Our belief is, as many times as possible, if you can apply rinse water after chemistry, that's going to be your best bet. Now, you also notice that we had two other devices here, so I wanted to show you those. This is a pump-up sprayer with the chemical in it that we've got here. It's labeled correctly with the right label on it, okay? And what you do with this is you pump it up, and you can see that this applies a very even mist over the table. Now understand, this is just a cleaning chemical. That's all we're doing with this. But you saw the nice fine mist that's over the table. Then I could use my long reach tool, or I can use my pad here, whichever one of these that you wanted to use, to agitate the surface. Then we could apply our rinse water and then squeegee it off. This is simply a way to apply, agitate, rinse, and remove your cleaning chemical. Now, once that you've done your cleaning, then, well, you might disinfect, you might sanitize, and in some cases, cleaning is quite appropriate and it's all you can do. In all cases, cleaning is the essential part. Make sure that you apply the chemistry safely. As a COPD sufferer, I understand this so much more than I used to in my early days. And what we're trying to do here at the Academy is help you understand, as you, your staff, your coworkers use chemicals, no matter what the chemistry is, please do it in a safe manner, be effective, and remember, best practice is to rinse.